TGIF, the week is almost over. Welcome back to our final video in our 5-day video series. Today we are going to be talking about Google Ads. So here's the thing about Google Ads. It might not be for everyone, and that's okay. But if you are looking for a way to drive a little extra traffic, you're going to use some type of search engine marketing, Google's probably the best channel for you to use. Yes, Facebook and Instagram ads are talked about very often, but we're not in that sexy sells, impulse buy type of business. People are only going to be looking for storage when they need it. So if I'm going to spend extra money online somewhere, I want to do it on a channel where I know there's traffic, and that's going to be Google. So I know I just said that Google Ads might not be for everyone, and I want to expand on that a little bit. So if you aren't in a very highly competitive market, or if you're in a very rural market, this might not make sense for you. It also might not make sense if your facility lives in that 90 to 92% occupancy range. And that's just because you're not really going to have the product to rent. So why spend the extra money if you don't have the inventory? So with that, let's get started. Tip number 1, run ads where your customers are. So we know storage is a local business. Customers are not going to drive for miles and miles to store their things. They might, depending on where your store is going to dictate that. So if you don't know where your customers are, then it's really hard to determine what locations should be set up in your Google Ads account. So there are a couple different ways that you can set up the locations of where your ads are going to run. So we either look at radius around the store, or we look at zip codes, or a combination of the two. Typically we look at a radius, but sometimes the zip codes make sense. But the best way to determine that is to plot your customers on a map. So if you use a property management software like SiteLink, that capability is already built in. You can go in, you can pull the map of where your customers are, and you can determine what the radius is around your store that you should be using in your Google Ads account. If you don't have that ability in your property management software, then you can easily plot your customers in a custom Google map. The easiest way to do that is download your customers into an Excel spreadsheet, go to the custom Google Map features online, upload that spreadsheet, and it will plot out exactly where your customers live. So either way, you really want to focus on where your core customers are. So if you are going to use zip codes and you only have 1 or 2 customers in a specific zip code, it's not likely going to drive a lot of additional traffic to your facility. So you're going to want to pick the zip codes where the majority of your customers are coming from. So go check to see where your customers live and adjust those locations in Google Ads. Tip number 2, create compelling ads. So first of all, your ad copy should never be something that you set and forget. And second, your ad copy should be something that grabs the searcher's attention. So you want to make sure that you're saying something worthwhile. There are a number of different ways you can set up your ads. It could be expanded text ads, responsive ads, dynamic ads, call tracking ads. Doesn't really matter which way. Each one has a different way to set it up, but with each, you do have the ability to add in some standard text items. So when you think about a compelling ad, what do you think should be something that you would include? What do you look for when you're shopping online? What we see is that ads containing some kind of offer, promo, discount, they tend to convert better. So this could mean including 1 month free, your dollar move-in, or simply if you have a strike-through rate on your website, maybe you just include a 10% discount for reserving online. So what can you include in your ads that shows value to the customer? So take some time over the next few days or weeks and review your ads. See what's converting, see what isn't, and see what you can add to draw the viewer's attention. Tip number 3, use negative keywords. Okay, so you use negative keywords when you want to ensure your ad isn't showing up for a particular word. really you're preventing your ad from displaying from irrelevant searches. So you don't want to spend money on clicks for searches that have nothing to do with your business. So for example, a good negative keyword for use in the storage industry would be something like data storage or cloud storage, because you don't want to be showing up for someone who's searching for, say, Dropbox. Another good example might be public storage or CubeSmart. So you might be thinking, well, why wouldn't I want to show up for a competitor? Well, especially the REITs, they have a lot more money to spend on Google Ads than you do. So really, you want to be going after and focusing on the keywords that are going to convert for you, not showing up for someone else and hoping they're going to convert. So put negative keywords in there so that you're not wasting money. So where to start? Start by making a list of things that you don't want to show up for. So maybe you don't want to show up for moving supplies, packing supplies, vehicle storage, boat storage. What are the things that are not going to drive as much revenue to your store, or that you just don't have available to sell at your store? So also, if you are already running ads in your Google account, you can go to keywords and then to search terms to see what terms are actually driving people to your ads. And you can see what keywords are actually costing you money. So some might be inexpensive, some might be really expensive. And those ones that are really expensive that might not be converting, you can then also add to your negative keyword list so you're not wasting money. So really, this is a great time for housekeeping, but really you don't want to overspend. So get in there, build out your negative keyword list, and make sure that your ads are only showing up for relevant searches. Tip number 4, conversion tracking. So it's great if your ads are getting all kinds of impressions and clicks, but are they actually converting traffic into leads and rentals? So to know if your ads are truly working for you, you need to set up conversion tracking for actions that matter. So what call to action items can you actually put a value to? So the only things that we typically track in Google Ads are rentals, reservations, and phone calls, because those are ads that we feel we can actually place a value on. So once you set up that conversion tracking code on your website, you'll be able to see how many calls and how many rental or reservation submissions you're actually getting from your Google ad campaigns. Along with setting up that conversion tracking, you're also going to want to have a good idea of how much you're willing to spend per conversion. So what are you willing to spend to get a new lead? Our recommendation is typically to stay in that $50 to $100 per conversion range. So honestly, I don't really care how many impressions you're getting. I don't truly care what your click-through rate is. At the end of the day, I'm looking for tangible leads. I want to see that those conversions are happening, and I want to see that they're happening at a price where you'll make money. So it's fine if you're looking at impressions and you're getting thousands of impressions on a monthly basis, but really at the end of the day, are those impressions converting to clicks, and are those clicks converting to tangible revenue? Number 5, try different bid strategies. So I actually don't mean this in the way that Google uses bid strategies. What I'm actually saying is be creative with your daily budgets. So for the newbies out there, when you set up a Google ad campaign with a budget, Google actually wants you to set a daily spending limit. So say your budget is $300 a month, you're actually going to set up your campaign with a budget of $10 a day. Typically, this is the easiest and simplest way to set up your campaign. So you just set it with that $10 a day and let it go. The problem is you might be leaving clicks on the table because you're essentially telling Google you're not willing to spend more than that on any given day. So once you hit your $10 a day spending limit, your ad's no longer going to be displayed because you have no more money to spend. So here's the strategy that we like to use. So I'm going to give you a little insight into our secret sauce. So we like to set budgets anywhere from $20 to $30 a day, or even a little higher depending on the market. And then we monitor the campaigns to make sure that they aren't going over budget or spending too much money. But this allows for an extra potential click or two and hopefully a conversion along the way. So if it looks like that campaign might go over budget, but it's driving conversions, this is where that conversion tracking comes into play. So if we can see that it's driving a lot of conversions at a good price, we might decide to spend a little extra money that month because we don't want to stop the momentum. On the reverse, if we see that the ad isn't driving a lot of conversions, but is spending a lot of money, we might go in and decide to pause that campaign for a little bit. So quick pro and con. So pro of strategy 1 is that your ads run every day of the month without fail. They're always going to show up at some point in time, but you might be leaving interactions on the table. The pro of strategy 2 is you can gain some additional interactions, but if you spend too much money, you might need to pause your ad and it might not run for the entire month. So in the end, you really just need to decide what you're comfortable with and go with that strategy or test them and see what works better for you. Tip number 6, try automated rules. So I don't know if you know this, but you can set up bulk actions in your Google Ads account. And this can be done for almost anything. Campaigns, keywords, budgets, ads, literally anything associated with your ads account. So I am not a fan of over automating, but because I still believe that there needs to be some human touch because your strategy really is part art and part science. But I do believe automated rules can help us keep an eye on the progress. So I like to use the automated rules for email notifications. So for example, we just talked about different ways to use your daily budget for bid strategies. And that might have seemed a little overwhelming because now you feel like you might need to log into your account regularly to check on it. But with the automated rules, you don't have to. You can actually go in to your account and set up an email notification to let you know when your campaign is getting close to that $300 budget. Then you can log into your account and check to see if you want to continue on with the budget and continue on with that momentum, or go ahead and pause the campaign for the rest of the month. I mean, essentially, you could also set that rule up that it would just pause the campaign once it hit the $300, and then you could set up another rule that would enable it at a certain time. But I don't like the computer making those decisions for me. I like to do that piece of it manually, but having the computer remind me to check on it, because we all know everybody wears 100 hats and sometimes you forget things. So having the computer remind me, that's a different story. We made it to the end of our 5 days this week in our 5-day video series. I really hope everybody found this information to be beneficial, and hopefully you at least learned a little something. For me, it at least made my week working from home a little more entertaining. Don't forget, we still have that bonus video coming discussing more about data and tracking. So look for that sometime early next week. As always, if you have questions, leave us a message in the comments below. We'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks for joining me this week, and we'll see you next time.